When it comes to ending a fight, few things are as exciting as a knockout, and the most thrilling kind, the one-punch KO. There's some debate about what exactly counts as a one-punch knockout, but for this video, we're focusing on those jaw-dropping finishes where just one hit does the job, even if a few extra punches follow. So without further ado, let's dive into some of the most amazing one-punch KOs in MMA history. Number 10, Anthony Pettis versus Stephen Thompson. We're starting with one of the most surprising knockouts on our list. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is known as one of the best strikers in UFC history, and his 2019 opponent, Anthony Pettis, is no slouch either. But when these two clashed, it was clear that Thompson was the more dominant striker, controlling the fight with his precision. Then, out of nowhere, Pettis pulled off a jaw-dropping move. With perfect timing, he landed a Superman punch right on Thompson's chin, creating one of the most memorable moments of his career.
Looking clean, but a big right hand, and Wonderboy's out!
In a flash, Wonderboy was out cold, and Anthony Pettis celebrated an incredible comeback victory, a huge moment for his already impressive career. Number 9, Sean O'Malley versus Eddie Wineland. Sean Sugar O'Malley is one of the hottest names in MMA right now, known for his knockout power. Out of his 15 wins, 11 have come by KO or TKO, giving him an impressive 73% knockout rate. One of his most stunning finishes happened in June 2020 at UFC 250 when he took on Eddie Wineland. In the early moments of round 1, O'Malley landed a perfectly timed straight right hand right on Wineland's chin.
In and out, he does the fence.
And was recognized as one of the best knockouts of the year. When it comes to spectacular finishes, this one is hard to beat. Rich Franklin versus Nate Quarry. Among the many unforgettable one-punch KOs, Rich Franklin's knockout of Nate Quarry stands out. Franklin is often underrated, but his knockout against Quarry was a prime example of his skill. In their title fight, Franklin showed his technical superiority. Once he timed Quarry's movements, he delivered a picture-perfect left hook right to Quarry's chin, making it one of the most memorable knockouts in his career.
Again, on the big left, and down goes Quarry!
Cold.
The way Nate Quarry hit the floor made this knockout even more spectacular. Rich Franklin wasn't known for his knockout power, but this finish was truly unforgettable. Number 7, Anthony Johnson versus Glover Teixeira. Anthony Rumble Johnson is widely considered one of the hardest hitters in UFC history, just behind Francis Ngannou. Watching him go from an oversized welterweight to a light heavyweight powerhouse was quite a sight. Though Johnson never won UFC gold and had some issues with weight, his explosive moments in the octagon were thrilling. One of his most memorable performances came against future champion Glover Teixeira. In their 2016 matchup, the fight barely got started before Rumble landed a colossal uppercut that knocked Glover out cold.
Glover putting pressure on him right away. Interesting.
Just like
In just 13 seconds, Anthony Johnson made a huge impact, and many thought this would mark the end of Glover Teixeira's time at the top. Although Teixeira eventually silenced the doubters, his loss to Johnson remains a highlight reel favorite. Number 6, Cody Garbrandt versus Rafael Assunção. Cody Garbrandt may not always impress with his fight IQ, but when he's at his best, he's a formidable force in the cage. Rafael Assunção learned this the hard way when they fought in June 2020. Garbrandt was on fire that night, and in the final moments of a dominant second round, he unleashed a powerful right hook that knocked Assunção out cold. The exact moment Cody Garbrandt landed that knockout was recorded at 4 minutes and 59 seconds of the second round, beating the bell by just a fraction of a second. It was a fantastic comeback for a fighter who proved he still has what it takes to deliver thrilling moments. Number 5, Kamaru Usman versus George Masvidal. Kamaru Usman had a big challenge ahead of him at UFC 261. After his first fight with George Masvidal, which ended in a somewhat dull decision win, Usman knew he had to prove his striking skills in a rematch. With a full camp to prepare, Usman was ready to make a statement. In their second bout, after a first round where Masvidal showed some promise, Usman cranked up the intensity. In the second round, he landed a massive right hand that knocked Masvidal out cold, showcasing his improved striking and leaving a lasting impression on the MMA world.
Of all the superlative.
Even though Kamaru Usman landed a few follow-up shots, it was clear that Masvidal was out cold well before those landed. Number 4, Rashad Evans versus Chuck Liddell. By the time Chuck Liddell faced Rashad Evans in a title eliminator bout, it was clear that the Iceman was no longer the dominant fighter he once was. His glory days as champion seemed behind him, and in 2008, he suffered one of the most brutal knockouts of his career. In the second round, as Evans was pinned against the cage, Liddell tried to land an uppercut. Evans read his move perfectly and countered with an overhand right that sent Liddell crashing to the mat, marking a devastating end to the fight.
big uppercut! He's down! Rashad Evans!
For fans of this octagon legend, it wasn't easy to watch, but Rashad Evans delivered a knockout that was truly impressive. Number 3, Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping. Rivalries can fuel a fighter's drive to win, and Dan Henderson's feud with Michael Bisping was no exception. After enduring Bisping's constant trash talk during an entire season of The Ultimate Fighter, Henderson was fired up to get his revenge. When they finally fought at UFC 100, it was the perfect stage for a dramatic finish. Henderson landed his famous hate bomb, a massive right hand that almost ended the fight immediately. But Hendo wasn't done. He followed up with a flying forearm that left Bisping face down, making it one of the most memorable finishes in UFC history.
That's it.
During his post-fight interview, Dan Henderson admitted that the follow-up shot was partly his own way of getting revenge. To this day, it's one of the most famous knockouts in UFC history and a testament to Henderson's incredible power. Number 2, Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. It's incredible to have two 13-second knockouts on this list, but just 8 UFC events before Rumble Johnson's knockout of Glover Teixeira, we witnessed one of the most shocking title victories in UFC history. Conor McGregor was given a solid chance to dethrone the long-reigning featherweight champion Jose Aldo, but no one expected McGregor to land a perfect counter right at the start of the fight against someone who hadn't lost in nearly a decade. This was a remarkable achievement and one of the most unforgettable moments in UFC history.
Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh no! He slapped him!
The punch landed around the 10 or 11 second mark, and by the time the referee noticed what had happened, Conor McGregor had already landed a few hammer fists for good measure. This was a star-making moment for McGregor, who was already one of the biggest attractions in the sport. Number 1, Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem. And finally, we have the knockout that tops this list. Francis Ngannou's legendary one-punch KO. Ngannou is probably the most powerful man on the planet today. While his early UFC performances hinted at his potential, it was his fight against Alistair Overeem that truly launched his hype train. Overeem was expected to be a tough challenge, a veteran striker who might exploit Ngannou's weaknesses. But when they faced off, Overeem had no answers for Ngannou's power. After a wild exchange, Ngannou delivered the most perfect uppercut you've ever seen, sending Overeem crashing to the ground. Ngannou then finished with a massive shot from the top, sealing one of the most devastating knockouts in MMA history.
To try to get a matchup with Ngannou. Goes the Reem!
This knockout put Ngannou's name on the map and made us all question how anyone in the division could withstand that kind of power. Sure, Stike Miocic would find a way to work around it at UFC 220, but as Ngannou continued to improve, that window of opportunity closed quickly. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please let us know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.